Hello, welcome back. I know it's been a really long time, but if I'm being honest, my year hasn't been the best ever. I've had a lot of bad luck, health issues also, so it's been kind of a lot, but I'm going to try because I know later I'm going to feel better. So let's start. On today's video, I want to talk about all the books I want to reread in 2025. Some of them I've already reread, the others I'm planning to. I don't know why. I've been thinking about a lot of books I've already read lately, and I'm super excited to read them. So I've divided this video in three categories. The first one is books I've already read. The second one, books I'm going to read because the series is continuing, so I want to read the books that are already out again before the next one comes out. And then the last category is books I've been thinking a lot about lately, so I want to read them just to remember them because I loved them when I read them the first time. So going into this first category, we have books I've already reread this year. The first two are from the same series. We have When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. The third book came out in January, I think it was, so I wanted to dive back into this small town before I read the last book on the series. No, it's not the last book. It's the third one, but I think there's one more. So yes, basically, I wanted to jump into the universe before reading the third one. And I did really enjoy these two books the first time around and the second time around, so I'm grateful I did. Then I read Collide. This is a sports romance. Again, I read it because the second book on the series came out this year and I wanted to dive into the story again, even though most of the books I'm reading are interconnected standalones, but you get the mood, back before jumping into the next book. So you get to see the characters that are going to be the main characters in those books and the backstory of their friends and everything. And I will say I also enjoyed this one a lot. I'm a really big fan of sports romances. Now let's jump into books I want to reread because the next book of the series is coming out and I want to, again, be inside the universe of all of this series. So first one we have In a Jam. I gave this book a 5 stars when I read it in 2023, I think it was. And I do have the second book over here. It's In a Rush. I remember really little from this book because I read it so long ago. So I want to dive into it again so I can read this one and then jump into the next one. Really excited. This one is also kind of small town farmer vibes and there's a single parent trope in it, which I love. Also, coming before a new release, we have Out on a Limb, the second book. I also have it here. It's Out of the Woods. And again, when I read this one, I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I enjoy, I think I'm going to like the book, but the plot on that book isn't calling my name, but I do love Hannah Bonam-Young book, so I know I'm going to enjoy it, even if it's not my favorite plot. This is Unexpected Pregnancy trope, which again, I also kind of love. Recently, I've read several books with that trope, and if written correctly, they're really good. So again, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to read it before reading the second one, and I'm excited because I love her writing. Then we have a series. We have the Windy City series. The 5th book is coming out May, I think it is. So I just bought these copies. Whenever I read them back in the day, I read them on my Kindle, but I decided I wanted to have the covers because I think they're stunning. So I found them for kind of cheap, like €8 each book. So I just bought them and pre-ordered the 5th one. And except for the first one that it was good, but the female main character was kind of annoying. But I think I might as well just reread it either way. And the last two specifically were one of my favorite sports romances of all time, or romances in general, I think. So I'm really excited. Again, this is a sports romance series, but in every book you have a different sport. So the first one is hockey, second one basketball, third and fourth is baseball, And the fifth one, I'm not really sure because I don't remember who the book is going to be about, but I think it's another hockey, maybe. So the books are Mile High, The Right Move, Caught Up. I think this specifically is my favorite one because again, there's like a single parent trope in it, and Play Along. And the one that's coming out is called Rewind It Back, I think. And then we're going to jump into the last category, which is books I've recently thought about a lot, so I want to reread them. First off, we have one of my favorite authors of all time, which is Mariana Zapata. I have 2 books from her I want to read, but I only have 1 physical copy. We have All Roads Lead Here. I was consumed by this book. Like, I couldn't stop reading. It was amazing. The characters, the vibes, everything, the banter. So I'm really happy to say that I'm going to read it. I wanted to wait so I could forget most of the things before jumping into it, and it's been like nearly 2 years now, so perfect timing, I think. And the other Mariana Zapata book I want to reread, I don't have the physical copy because I've been trying to find one that is less than 20 euros, but it's impossible. And it's, wait for it, I'll just reread it again on my Kindle, and I hope they make the new kind of cover thing because she's done The Wall of Winnipeg and Me and All Roads Lead Here with a new cover, and I think they're cheaper, so let's see if they do the same with Wait For It so I can buy it, because it's not only spending 20 euros in a book, it's spending 20 euros in a book that doesn't have the best cover ever, so I'll just wait and be patient. These are slow burn romances, and they're all kind of interconnected in a sense, but it's not necessary for you to read them all in the order that they're supposed to be read in. It's just a way better experience because you see people from other books in those books, not in the same way as in interconnected standalone series, which is way better because you don't expect it, and then you see all the connections, and it's amazing. So if you're going to start reading Mariana Zapata, I recommend you read it in the publishing order. Then we have Things We Never Got Over. I've read the full series, which is a 3-book series, but I think this is the only one I want to reread, if I'm being honest. When I heard about this book, I wasn't sure why everybody loved it, because the plot wasn't calling me, but then I saw that the book was on Amazon for 10 euros, which is kind of cheap, so I just decided to buy it and wing it and see if I liked it. And when I was 20 pages in, I ordered the second one because I fell in love with this book. There's some parts that are kind of not the best, like some actions, but I loved it. And again, there's also a kid in this book. This is the first book from the series, and it's also a romance. I think all of the books I'm going to talk about, except for one, are romances. Then from one of my favorite authors, we have Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book from the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I think it's my favorite book from the series. I constantly think about this book and the characters, so I've been itching to pick it back up again. I read it, I think it was my second read from 2023. I've been missing this world, so I want to jump back into it before the next book in her next series comes out, which also happens in the same place as this one. Again, also a romance. There's obviously billionaire tropes, second chance romance, childhood best friends. Amazing. Now, this is the only fantasy I'm going to talk about, but I don't really categorize it as a fantasy because it's more of a romance with fantasy aspects into it. It's kind of Twilight. I would never classify Twilight as a fantasy just because I've read so many fantasies that have their own world. It's not like normal world with some touches of, I don't know. The romance is really heavy on this book, and I think it's the most important part. That's why I'm really categorize it as a romance, but it does have fantasy because it's a vampire werewolf romance. This was amazing. Again, I couldn't put it down. I think I gave it a 4.25 and I miss it. I hope we get more books inside this series. And yes, I have nothing else to say about this. I love Alice Wood's writing. I was kind of iffy about this book specifically because she always writes romances, not fantasy. But I think this is my favorite book from her. So write more books in your series, please. And then also from one of my favorite authors, we have 12 Silver books. The series in general I really enjoyed, but these were two of my favorite ones. So maybe instead of rereading the whole series, I'll just read these specific ones because they're the ones that I'm constantly thinking about. And I don't know if I want to read a 5-part book series, you know? So the first one is Heartless. It's a nanny trope, single dad, cowboy. What else do you need? And this is surprise pregnancy, cowboy. What else? Like, nothing better than Elsie Silver and these tropes together. So those are all the books I'm planning on reading this year. They're kind of a lot, but I also read a lot. So let's hope I can get to all of them this year. Let me know what books you're planning on rereading soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye!